All right. Hey, everybody. Well, welcome to this special interview with Dr. Heidi Heron. My name is George Carroll, and we're going to kind of open up the box of NLP and how it might be able to help you in your world, personally, professionally, relationally, or whatever it might be. And we just wanted to do a quick interview because Heidi is bringing an NLP certification training to Colorado in August of 2018. And we just wanted to give you maybe some insight and some tools, some tips, some ideas on whether NLP might be a good fit for your world or not. And so we have here on this special interview, Dr. Heidi Heron. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Thank you very much, George.
Heidi's in the future right now. She's in Australia, so she can give you some insight on your future too.
Yeah, Tuesday is a really good day for you. It's currently about 9 a.m. and so far, fantastic. I really recommend tomorrow.
There we go. There we go. Well, before we jump in, I have some questions I want to ask you, Heidi. And before we jump into those questions, I just want to share a little bit of background about how you and I met.
Yeah.
So going back into time, I remember being pretty depressed after my first corporate job and after sort of getting my heart broken in a relationship. And at that point, I was sort of at my rock bottom. And I remember just searching for something, and I ended up finding a book in the library that led me to NLP. And so at the time I was living in Colorado, and I looked up different trainings and things that were going on in Colorado so I can dive deeper into it because I've had heard so many amazing things about it. And, you know, I met Heidi through a certification training out in Colorado in Winter Park. And I just really resonated with her style, really loved her delivery. I loved the way that she operated from integrity and from her heart. There was just something really sweet about that. So we kept in touch, and I ended up getting certified multiple times through Heidi and NLP Worldwide. And, you know, it's amazing for me now for it to come full circle because, you know, I get to bring you out to Colorado and bring some of my friends in and allow them to experience NLP and this amazing work. So that's just kind of the quick background. Heidi, you know, first question I have for you is, tell us a little bit about your background and the kind of impact that NLP has had on your life. And maybe
Yeah.
what is NLP anyway?
That's probably a good place to start. So I won't start there though, because that would be too obvious. I will start with you, because I remember, I think it was during the second training that you did with us. You were either still kind of living in your car or just right outside of that whole space of it. And to see you take, the bits from NLP that really resonated with you and helped you take it to the next level, combined with everything else that it was just wonderful. So it's wonderful, magical to watch your journey as we go along too. So my
Thank you.
absolute pleasure to work with you.
Yeah.
So my background, so you can hear, I am in Australia and it is in the future, but I'm originally from Colorado. And so I've been in Australia for just about 30 years, and I still have this accent, which is my probably preference. Fairly auditory in nature is me, and so I probably choose in some way to have this accent versus the Australian accent. It fits me better. But I went to school here in Australia, high school, and then went back to Colorado, went to college, and George and I have the same alma mater. Is that how you say that? And I studied psychology and communications, and my intention was to teach, like school, but it never quite happened. Something happened along the way that just never really came into fruition. I moved back to Australia in 1997, picked up a book about NLP that actually happened to belong to my mother. And I was blown away. I was blown away that there were so many simple things that I didn't have to learn about lab rats and dog salivating and weird people and things that just didn't make sense anymore, that I could take bits and pieces from my communication degrees and my psych degrees and help me to have a better life, help other people have a better life, communicate more effectively. It was just amazing from this book. Interestingly, I asked my mom, where did you get this book? Like, why do you have it? And she goes, well, that's what I do. I said, what do you mean that's what you do? So she actually learned NLP in 1983 at the same school, George, that you did, originally in Winter Park with me. And I had no idea that she was not only using NLP, that she knew it, but she was actually training NLP. She started NLP Worldwide in 1994, which was then the Australasian Institute of NLP. And I was just blown away. So I started my NLP training, and my NLP training helped me to, like most of you, I didn't have like a bad childhood. I didn't have a lot of rock bottom kind of places. So I look at people like George who have had the resilience to bounce back, and I go, wow, what is that? I actually ended up doing my doctoral thesis about resilience, utilizing resilience as a cure for preventative or curative tool for trauma. But to me, it was a way of communicating with me, understanding my mind, understanding why do I do what I do, identifying the beliefs that hold me in place or propel me forward. And I learned that I have choice about that. And the rest is history. I did have a real job. Not that this isn't a real job, but this is subpar. This is above and beyond anything of my wildest dreams. I was working in human resources and operational management for about 10 years. And then I decided I wanted to start my own coaching practice, which I did. And then I asked my mother, who's Lorelei, is what I call her in business because that's her name. And I asked her, hey, can I do in your training team? And I had already been assisting on so many different trainings and even up the front training. And she said, absolutely. So that was in 2000. So this is going into my 18th year of training NLP, and it's just phenomenal. So, you asked what NLP is. My simplest description of NLP is it's my tool to understand, and it can be your tool too, I'll share, but my tool to understand how the language of my mind creates the programs that I run in life. Because if I get stuck, there is a program happening, and I can figure out how did that happen. If I'm working with somebody else, because I do as a coach and a therapist with NLP, even with a doctoral in psychology, the only modality that I use is NLP. If they have a program, a pattern, a belief, a behavior that's not working, I can figure out where that comes from and change it linguistically using all of our senses, what we see, say, taste, touch, smell, possibly doing some conversational changes, how I ask questions, or I might do a closed-eyed type of process with somebody and change something at the neurological, unconscious level, which is the neuro aspect of NLP. Fascinating. I'm sure we'll find out more today.
Yeah, it is fascinating. It's had such a huge impact in my life too. And like you said, I think I took the second time I took a certification training was with you, I think in Golden, Colorado in 2010. And I had just claimed bankruptcy after starting my business, just fell flat on my face. And I remember taking that practitioner certification, and it wasn't within the next year or two that I grew my business to 6 figures. And I think that the biggest reason why that is I really learn how to harness, and I don't want to use the word control, but use your mind instead of using my mind, letting my mind use me. And so being able to effectively learn how to achieve outcomes and my goals was a huge part of taking that course. My next question for you, Heidi, is how can NLP improve or assist people in their own personal development?
Wow. Okay. I would say so that there's different reasons that people come and learn NLP. And even if they're looking to utilize NLP with others as a coach or a therapist, or they're looking to utilize it in business or with others, or they're just interested, or the communication aspects, the one common theme of everyone is we all happen to be these human beings on this planet. And we all have the patterns that motivate us, that hold us back. From a personal development aspect, so many times I hear people say, well, that's just how I am. That's who I am. That's just what I do. If it's not a universal kind of thing, like, even people's hair getting gray, not everybody's hair gets gray. So somewhere there's a belief factor in there, even if that's a DNA belief factor of what's happening. If, I just eat too much, is how I am. Does it have to be? So I understand where you went, not really control, when you were saying that it created control for you, but that's what it does. So not control over and not power over, like controlling someone else. But if you can be more in control of your thoughts, your mind, if you can be more aware of what's happening, there's no end to the possible opportunities for personal development and personal growth. From health and really maintaining and creating health, I've helped so many people lose weight, change their body structure, move on from anxiety and depression, move on from cancer, rewire the mind from people that had like hypothyroidism or Hashimoto's disease. What else health-wise? Any kind of mental kind of stuff that's going on. There's something happening in the mind. So we can utilize your mind, your linguistics, your programs, and start to shift those from just a being you. Wow, who are you? You know, there's a guy, we just finished a master practitioner, which is the level 2 training on Saturday here in Sydney. And there was a guy in this course that found himself. And it was so amazing to watch. He had been so externally motivated and driven, like, what are they going to think? And is this the right thing? And, you know, who should I ask? And all this stuff. And he went and he actually met with his, I think it was 3-year-old self that had decided it's not safe to be you. It's not safe to not fit in, because he was not normal. You know, he was like me, probably like you, like most of us that weren't popular kid. It was a little bit awkward sometimes. I mean, that's life. And he actually found that he could give himself permission to just be. And, you know, I think that was like on Wednesday or Thursday, and the rest of the class, this guy was just floating, just congruent, aligned, amazing. So much personal growth with NLP.
You know, I want to ask you, because and you started leading into it, in all the years that you've been doing this and all the trainings and the one-on-one coaching, can you pick a couple of like case studies of maybe why somebody came to you and maybe kind of what you may have worked with them on, and then the result or the outcome?
Man, there's a bunch of them. One lady in London, because I one of my pleasures of this is my passion. I actually get to travel around the world and share NLP. So that's why I call this not really a real job, is because it's more fun. I just happen to get paid for it and, you know, help a lot of people along the way. So there was a lady in London, and she came to the course really not knowing why she was there. Somebody just said, hey, you need to learn NLP. It'll be great for business or sales or negotiations or something. And so that was her main focus. While she was there, what she actually was presenting is a lot of self-doubt, a lot of, that just reminded me of somebody else, a lot of just that, really. Like her whole life was kind of shrouded in self-doubt and lacking something. And through the week, because the NLP course is just a week, it's only a week, but through that short week, she was able to uncover so many patterns and beliefs. I remember with her, there was this pattern of her mother that kept coming up, and she would have that voice of her mother inside going, what are the neighbors going to think? What are the neighbors going to think? And that was probably like the record that was playing in her childhood, which came into her adulthood. Now, she smashed that record. She completely got rid of it and created a new soundtrack that was what she wanted to create in her life. And I still keep in touch with her, and she has gone from strength to strength. That was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. She moved into a new profession. She found a husband that she wasn't even looking for. I think they have 2 kids now. Just amazing. The other person, that's another woman, came into my mind, and she was very timid when she came into the NLP room, and she came to NLP to become a better communicator. And what we found is that, like, her and I, and probably the rest of the group, because it's a group kind of thing, is that, again, there was a lot of self-doubt in there, and she just wasn't being her. And probably the biggest thing that stands out for her is on the last day, I remember we were standing in a circle, and I was just handing out certificates. Not a lot of pomp and circumstance, just handing out certificates, and people walk over to me to get their certificate. She did a cartwheel seriously, a cartwheel in the middle of the room to come and get her certificate. And that was just awe-inspiring. You know, I've met other people. I do a lot of work with entrepreneurs, specifically in Malaysia and other Asian countries. And one guy was going from strength to strength in his business, but he was stopping himself. It was a family business. He was stopping himself from really propelling forward because that's not how the business did it. And because it was a family business, there was so much, what's the right word when it's that tradition? I guess it's tradition. When there's the traditions within a family of this is how we do things.
Tradition? Are you thinking of the word tradition?
Yeah, that's a good word, tradition. Yeah, we'll just go with that one. And he blew out so many beliefs and built the confidence to be able to go back to his father and say, you know what? You've done the business your way for so many years and it's a successful business. Now it's my turn. And wow, I mean, I stay in contact with most people, and his family, his business, the finances skyrocketed. So those are a couple examples that come to my mind right off the top of my mind.
That's awesome. You know, and for those of you watching this and considering the training coming up in August of 2018, one of the cool things about the 7-day training is that not only do you get to learn from Heidi and watch her and listen to her, but you also get to practice with each other in a lot of cases. And my favorite part is Heidi will bring people up to the front of the training room and do demonstrations. So you get to work directly with Heidi. And there have been a couple of processes that I remember, especially that parts integration that we did in 2011 that really just cracked me open in an amazing way. Yeah, I remember that. You know, and the person that you were talking about who is, you know, married with 2 kids, it sounds like my story, you know.
It does, actually.
So I think that's one of the cool things is that you get to work with Heidi one-on-one. I remember sitting in the front row, and every time she would ask for a volunteer, I'm like, ooh, me. It's like, all right, George, put your hand down. All right, let's
down, boy. Yeah. It's amazing to me when people are like, no, I don't want to be the demonstration person. I mean, that's like the best coaching you're going to get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you get pretty good coaching, however, because the process is like you said. So I demonstrate everything, and then you get into pairs or trios and you try everything on. So you're working on your own stuff. So there's the personal development aspect just in those 7 days is amazing.
Yeah.
So you can't do anything wrong. You can just improve it from there.
Mm-hmm. Love it. So yeah, I mean, you get it into your muscle. Not only do you watch Heidi teach and listen to her teach, but you get to get that kinesthetic learning in where, you know, you partner up with people and you get to kind of start building muscle inside of the training. It's really an amazing structure. Talk more about NLP in business, Heidi. How can people use NLP in their business life?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I work with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners. And some of the courses that we run in Malaysia are closed programs for the Young Entrepreneurs Association organization. So they are all business people in some regard. And I think that they've taught me even more about how to utilize NLP in business, because we're teaching the exact same stuff, but then I keep in contact and I say, so what are you doing? And it's about building rapport with other people, about having that confidence within yourself to communicate effectively. It's about reading people, not mind reading, but reading the sensory acuity, being sensory acute, which is the ability to see and hear what's not being said. So there's a phrase that is, you cannot not communicate. That's probably one of the things that I took from college. A lot of other things that nothing had to do related to my classes, but that's one of them. I think from Idle and Carr and SpeechCom something.
I remember Dr. Carr. I loved her.
She was awesome. And it's so true. By watching how somebody stands, how they sit, how they tilt their head, what they're nodding to, what they're not nodding to, where their eyes are going, you can actually identify what's going on with someone. Now, in NLP, we don't talk about like if your arms are crossed, that means you're closed, because it could mean anything. We look at it like if I'm talking to somebody and I say, so, you know, how's your relationship with your mother? And they go, well, that just meant something. So in a business context, if I'm going for the close of a sale, I want to be able to read that physiology, somebody's body. I want to be able to watch their eyes and identify their strategy. I want to, if I'm leading or managing people, I want to be able to communicate how the people I'm communicating need to be communicated with. I want to find somebody's strategy for how they learn, so I can teach them the best, how they're motivated, so I can motivate them individually. You can use NLP from a training perspective and train anything much better with the NLP skills. Sales, negotiation, leadership. We work with lawyers. We work with entrepreneurs. We work with people who are writing books. Anything that deals with just you or you working with somebody else and opening up that communication structure is phenomenal. I think I've used phenomenal too many times. I'm gonna stop.
No, I mean, it really is, and being in business for myself for the last 8 years and having these set of tools at my hip has been just instrumental to my own personal growth and my professional growth. And it's so cool because as a speaker and a trainer, I get to kind of subtly use a lot of these NLP techniques and tricks with my corporate folks, and to be able to have not only the content aspect, but the impact aspect of the training is really such a value add for me and my clients. And I started my business as kind of an NLP coach, and I work with people one-on-one using just NLP. So that leads to my next question. Is NLP a modality for coaches, therapists, practitioners? And how does that work?
Yeah, it absolutely is. So in the world of coaching and psychotherapy, there are lots of different aspects or modalities. If you've done a traditional kind of coaching course, you will learn how to take somebody from where they're at to where they want to go, and ask lots of questions and create some steps and some guideposts and help keep them accountable to it. As a modality for coaching, however, with NLP, it takes it one step further. Not only with my clients am I able to figure out where they're at and where they want to go, and where they want to go is the most important aspect. We're digging a little bit to figure out, how did you get to where you're at? And are there any types of limitations or blocks or barriers or beliefs or attitudes or things holding you back? And NLP contains hundreds of techniques that will help you to clear any of those interferences, or help somebody else to clear the interferences, as well as what are those resources. Now, resources are like attitudes, attributes, skills, behaviors. It might be time, money, self-love, self-belief, confidence, strength, determination, relaxation, that kind of stuff. And NLP also has hundreds of techniques that help us to access those resources. Because to me, it's about working with clients, coaching or therapy, and I'll talk about that in just a sec, is kind of like a bridge. So that bridge is held up by those pylons that's that strength of the resources. So if we can help people build resources, then we can create those changes, and the changes will hold for life. So each time you have something come up, that fear of not getting it right, or that all or nothing pattern, or the fear of failure, or what are they going to think, or any of that internal dialogue, negative stuff, it won't be there, because we're going to change it at the unconscious neurological level. From a therapy side of things, anytime that you are doing conversational talk therapy, it's called psychotherapy. That's just the name of it, psychotherapy. And there are lots and lots of different modalities of psychotherapy: cognitive behavioral, cognitive, EMDR, lots and lots of them. One of them is NLP. And again, same basis, but anything that somebody might go see a counselor for, or a therapist for, a psychologist for, NLP can work with, and more effectively. I'm the coach. I've been coaching for, again, 18 years, and I have a busy practice. I just got a notification, because when somebody books into my calendar, I get that email from somebody, and I saw one yesterday for the 15th of February. So apparently my next appointments are in February. That's crazy. I mean, except for the ones over the next few weeks kind of thing, but that's crazy. I'm known, and I have a reputation for being kind of like that either first resort, just get it done, or the last resort. After you've gone to your therapists and kinesiologists and Reiki practitioners and your psychics and the other therapists and the doctors, it's okay, let's go to Heidi. I would rather people just do it first. Cut out a lot of crap, technical term. But anything that people will go to a traditional counselor or therapist for will come to see an NLP practitioner. And very, very outcome solution based. So traditional psychology looks at the problem. Traditional counseling will look at the problem and where you want to go and kind of figure out how to talk around where you're at to hopefully change it or cope with it. You know, I've so many people that have to cope with depression or anxiety. That's hard. And they're told, like, when you feel the panic attack coming up, just breathe through. If you've ever had a panic attack, there is virtually no possible notion for your conscious mind to kick in and go, now is the time to breathe, because it's so focused on other things. So NLP actually looks at, you know, where are you? How did you get to that place in the first part? So we're looking at history and parents and genealogical stuff, not to blame, to understand. And more importantly, where do you want to be? And it's amazing how many people don't know that part. They're like, I just don't want to be anxious. But what do you want? Oh, less anxiety. Oh. And then we figure out what's holding them back and what resources they need. And the magic begins there.
Yeah, NLP is magic. I mean,
It is.
It's hard to describe. It's something definitely to be experienced. It's almost like trying to tell a virgin what their first experience with sex is going to be like. It's just very.
That's my marketing, but I'd like to. I'm going to create a meme.
Do it. You got to. You know, because
that's actually a better analogy than trying to learn to drive from a book. That's actually a much better analogy.
You know, and you know, I always tell coaches. What's that?
Thanks for that.
Yeah, you bet. You bet. And you know, I always tell coaches and therapists and practitioners, as you said, if you're doing a lot of talk therapy or talk coaching, or it's NLP is such a beautiful communication model, and it seems to fuse and integrate really nicely into somebody's already developed process. Can you talk a little bit and expand a little bit on that?
In fact, there's a lady, she just, again, did the master practitioner with us. She, in September of this year, in early September, she finished her diploma in counseling. She had been working as a coach counselor for a number of years, but she finished her formal studies. And in September, end of September, she did the level 1, the practitioner training, and then just completed the master practitioner with us. And when I first met her, she just wanted to get some of these tools because she heard that NLP was a good communication tool and that she could, you know, be able to communicate and maybe sell a few more packages or coaching packages or therapy packages to her clients. Fine reasons, why not? And she figured, well, along the way, she might, you know, clear something or another of herself. Hello. So she said that she already had so much information from her counseling degree. And I had also from my psych degree and my doctorate in psych. But she said that now after this last week, that she's not going to use anything other than NLP. The basis and foundations of, you know, her rapport with people or the connection and some of the basic counseling skills, absolutely. But instead of just talking to somebody about an issue, she now has a toolbox that she can use and tap into. I probably have, another dozen or so people that are coming to my mind that have been and are traditional therapists and counselors and added NLP, and it just completely transformed their practice. Because with NLP, like without NLP, I don't know because I haven't done a therapy practice or coaching practice without NLP. But generally, they would spend 6 to 12 months working with somebody on a weekly or a fortnightly. Can't say that's America. 2 week. Every 2 week, a weekly or 2 weekly. How do you say that? You need a word for it. It's fortnightly basis. And now they're working with people between about 8 and 10 sessions total.
And
the more experience they get, it'll come down. My average client sessions is between about 4 and 6 sessions.
And these are some, you know, some heavy issues at times, some big issues that maybe people have spent months, even years on.
Years, yes.
You know, and we hear that about, you know, a traditional therapy model about it taking a long time. And not to say that NLP is like a quick fix by any means, But there's just something very special about it that I think in working with the unconscious or the subconscious mind, and maybe you can talk just a little bit about the difference between conscious and subconscious.
Sure. And that's exactly why the conscious unconscious mind, why NLP works much more elegantly and quicker. Not a quick fix, but quicker time frame, because we're working with the unconscious mind. So the conscious mind is your thinking, analytical, reasoning mind. It's that part of your mind that knows that yesterday's yesterday, today's today, and you have plans for tomorrow. It's that part of your mind that you hear all the time. It's asking why. What did you do? How come you did that? Blah, 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 blah. And it's keeping you on track for something. That's your conscious mind. It's useful, but sometimes it can get in the way depending on the questions that it's asking and the tonality that it's doing it with. But your conscious mind is useful. It, however, doesn't run you. Your unconscious or subconscious mind, that makes up about 90% of your mind. That's where we store our memories. It runs our body. It creates the patterns for us. It maintains the integrity of our health. It drives us. And because of that, I mean, you don't have to think about blinking or breathing or digesting your food. You don't have to think about getting goosebumps when you get cold, or somebody tells you a story that really resonates. You don't have to think about sweating when you get hot. It just happens unconsciously. Same thing with most of the patterns, beliefs, behaviors that you use, that you do. Do you think about crossing your arms? No. Do you think about being scared of something or moving forward? No. It just happens unconsciously. So to digress just a bit, when NLP was first developed in the early 70s, the founders of NLP modeled 3 people that were really good psychotherapists during their day in the 70s and earlier. Virginia Satir, who is a family therapist, Milton Erickson, who is a hypnotherapist, and Fritz Perls with Gestalt therapy. And above and beyond anything, what they picked up was these 3 therapists had some wonderful tools, but an amazing way to communicate. And they communicated with their clients to the unconscious mind, not the conscious mind. And most counseling and therapy is done consciously. It's let's talk about the problem. Let's talk about where you think it might come from. Where in NLP land, we go, let's not talk about it. Let's figure out where you're at and what you want, and figure out what interferes, and let's figure out how that got there so that we can change it. So we utilize a lot of a person's history or their timeline. And some people go, oh, I don't have a good memory. That's good, because if you did, you would be trying to consciously figure out where something came from. I read something. I really need to figure out where I read this from, because I keep quoting it without a source. So this is an unquoted source. What I read was that we actually have connection or access to about 3% of the memories that we have. So we've got conscious access to about 3% of the memories that we have. But our unconscious mind holds every single memory and detail of everything that you've ever done. And your mind then codes and creates the chemical reactions and unconscious coding for everything we do. So we can unpack that. Using NLP, we can unpack it. So using the unconscious mind. I think I digressed the question.
No, I think we're hitting the nail on the head here. And, I don't know what to tell somebody who is like, they're kind of leaning in and they're considering doing a certification training like this. I guess I'd ask you, how does somebody know they're ready for a training like this?
There's a simple answer. There's a simple answer for any question of, is this the right thing? Is this the right time? If you are thinking about it, it's the right time. It's as simple as that. Should I? Yeah, absolutely. If it's not on your radar, then you're probably not even watching this. You're not even thinking about it. But if it's on the radar, there is at least a little part of you that is intrigued and curious enough to be investigating it. And the answer is yes. I would say there's a very small percentage, I'm not even sure about what I'm about to say. There's a very small percentage of people who I don't think NLP is for. And that's truthful. And as I kind of figure out what that is, it's somebody who has that fixed mindset. You know, the growth mindset versus the fixed mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who has a very fixed mindset that says, you know, I don't want to grow. There's nothing else for me. I know it all. I'll never use it anyway. I'm fine. But they're probably not watching this. They're not in contact with you. They're not even thinking about NLP. The people who are drawn to NLP have a sense of curiosity about why they do what they do, why other people do what they do. They're usually driven to be better than they are currently and seek kind of continual personal growth for themselves or others. They usually want to make a difference in the world somehow. And that might just be through who they are and what they do. It might be through utilizing NLP or another modality with other people. And they're usually also people who are, what's the right word, already that go-to person, that people seek them for something. So if it's in your awareness and you're thinking about it, if you're watching this right now and you've gotten this far, do it. Just do it. 7 days. It's a week of your life. Nothing. Do it.
Yeah. Well, there you have it. I mean, and you know, that was the approach I had with attending your trainings. And the exponential growth that I've had since then has just been worth every moment, because I know it's time too that people are taking out of their lives. Every minute that I was in the training, because I got to learn a framework or models that really allow me to tackle any challenge that comes my way. And I think that's the biggest thing that I've noticed is that as you move towards your goals, as I've moved toward my goals, things stop me, they get in the way. And that happens with everybody. I think that the difference between people who achieve their goals and people who don't are the ones who know how to deal with those challenges when they butt up against them. And, you know, NLP for me has been the most powerful set of tools to get beyond that.
Me too. And there's lots of them. You know, it doesn't have to be NLP, but NLP is, to me, from what I know and use, is one of the most elegant, simple, understandable things. You know, a lot of people look at NLP because of sometimes how it's trained is kind of that woo-woo, new agey kind of thing. But that's not how I train it. I train it very real, very real. You know, what you see here is what you get. You know, I laugh at myself. We have a lot of fun. We are engaging with each other. We are challenging. We are growing. We are transforming. And it's just amazing. I don't know that there's another word for it other than that. But it's a week. And yeah, it's money too, but it's absolutely money well spent, because it's these tools. I guarantee even after day 1 of NLP, you won't see the world the same. Because once you see something through a different lens, it shifts it. And that being said, probably 10 or 12 years ago, we started looking at our students, because like I said before, I keep in contact with most people. At least I attempt to. If they don't keep in contact with me, then I just know that they're doing well. That's the assumption that I make, at least. But most people, I know where they're at and how they're using stuff. We decided that we needed to put more support in, because I've been to trainers, I'm sure you have too, that you go and do a course and then you walk away and you're like, great, that was fantastic, and you go back to Monday and do life again. So I want to help you get NLP into your life, not just in the 7 days, but after the course. We actually have a student membership site that you'll get access to. And there's so many videos and articles and aspects and reminders and tasks and stuff that helps keep you in the loop. So you can continue to jump on that student membership site and continue to relearn. You get access to some videos that demonstrate all of the processes again. And they probably need to be re-videoed, but we won't, because they're just so cute. I think they were done in like 1997, and 2007, sorry. I'm just so cute in them. Cute little Heidi. But the knowledge stays the same. So we've got online practice groups, there's practice groups, webinars, all kinds of stuff because my purpose here in this world isn't just to share this stuff. My purpose is help it to be used. And so part of my passion is helping you to figure out how to get it into your life. For you first, then others, and in your business. But that's part of my passion. So your learning doesn't stop on whatever, August 7th. That's when it really begins.
Yeah. And I mean, I would say even before that, because when people decide to register, they get some prep work and pre-work and access to your work, correct?
Yeah. Our 30 Days to NLP book, you can download the manual. You get, I think there's 3 or 4 pre-course videos to watch that go through some of the basic elements of NLP. Even from that, you know, the presuppositions that you look at in those videos, the pre-course learning, even that starts to put a new frame around what's happening in this world. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, it's great to have that pre, during, and after support, so that, you know, you can continue your NLP education moving forward. As we wrap up here, Heidi, I just kind of want to, I think I failed to mention that I'm hosting Heidi. So Heidi lives in Sydney, Australia. We're flying her out, or she'll actually be out in Colorado during that time for vacation anyway. For summer. And so she's going to come in and I'm hosting it. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to me personally. I'll have some contact information below the video or in the comment section if you're watching this on YouTube. There's also a link below to learn more about the specific NLP training in Colorado that Heidi is going to be coming to and facilitating. And you can learn, including pricing, including what you'll be learning. If you have any questions, you can reach out to us. But we look forward to seeing you in August, and we're already halfway full for the training. It's going to be pretty intimate. We're going to have 18 people in the room. We want to keep it intimate. It tends to be more powerful that way. And so you want to make sure that you learn more about the training, apply for it, and then you and I will get on the phone and just explore, is this a good match for you? How can we best serve you in the training? Heidi, any last words of wisdom or anything that you want to share before as we wrap up here?
Not really. I think we've covered it. We've done a good job.
I think so too. In under 45 minutes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
No, I truly hope to meet a lot of you. If you have questions for me, maybe George, you can just stick the NLP Worldwide website there, even my email address, if people want to get a hold of me to ask me anything specific. But no, like I said before, if you're curious about it, just do it. Just do it.
Cool.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I'll see you there too, because it's always a pleasure for me to kind of watch people's eyes and worlds open up and brighten up after being exposed to this information. So we both look forward to meeting you there. Thanks again, Heidi, for taking the time to chat with us about NLP, and we'll see you in August.
Excellent. Talk to you soon.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.